Welcome to this first unit. Let's suppose we have at our possession a data set in Excel and we would like to import it and trim it using Excel and SPSS. The screening and trimming of data. We're going to look for missing data in cases, missing data in variables, and we are going to look for unengaged respondents. Let's run the SPSS program. It takes some time, but here it is. And while we are doing it, we can also run Excel and look at the Excel file in which all the responses are recorded. It's here. And what we can now do is to import the Excel dataset into SPSS. You can see that the first row contains the labels of the variables. So if we import it into SPSS and we indicate that the first row, that is, contains the labels, it very neatly imports the data into SPSS. Now, every dataset contains errors. There can be missing data, there can be unengaged respondents, and it's of utmost importance to screen the data for those errors. So what we can first do is to check, and we will do that in Excel, whether specific respondents have entered the same values over and over again. And we can do that in Excel by adding the COUNTIF function, and to count in a specific area whether respondents have displayed a missing value. So we're going to count the zeros in the rows. And what we can see now is that there are two respondents who are kind of suspicious. We can also sort this column. So this respondent, there is one respondent who is displayed only zeros, so 5 zeros, so that's kind of an unengaged respondent, and there's one with 3. So for me, these would be candidates for dropping, actually. Now, the next thing is to look for missing data in variables, so to look whether specific variables have many missing values, which is a 0 in this case. So we simply draw tables with frequencies of values, and what we can see is that there's nothing really suspicious going on here. So there is this one respondent, but that's not really a problem. So as a third step, we can look for unengaged respondents, in the sense that people may have filled in the questionnaire quite rapidly. And we have in the Excel file that was imported, we have the starting time and the end time. And what we can do is to make a new target variable, time elapsed, which is the end time minus the finish time minus the start time. And we can create this variable, and this one presents the number of seconds it took a respondent to complete the questionnaire. And if we can look at it and make a box plot of the time elapsed. And we can see that there are not many people that have filled in the questionnaire quite rapidly. Only a couple of them whom it took quite some time, but that can happen. So that is not really suspicious. If there were respondents who filled in a questionnaire in like 3 seconds, I would drop them. So this kind of finishes our data screening. And we can now complete the data set by adequately labeling the missing values, describing the questions, and putting in labels for values. I will not demonstrate it, it's kind of straightforward, but you should do it. I'm now completing it here, the missing values for the liked items. Yes, one but final. And the final one. So to finish off this first unit, I have 2 comments I would like to make. The first one is that data screening and data trimming takes a lot of time. But if you find out after having analyzed all the data that there are errors in your data set, you have to redo it and start all over again. So I really think you should look at data screening and trimming as an investment in your data set that will save you a lot of time and effort in the long run. The second remark is that whatever you do in terms of data screening and trimming should be very precisely reported in your paper, preferably in the methods section of your paper or report or thesis or whatever. And on the electronic learning environment, I have included a kind of a sample formulation you can use to document your data screening and trimming procedures.